moving on to the next speaker, which is Elgidius Ichumbaki. Elgidius is an archaeologist. He's a heritage scholar and National Geographic explorer based in the Department of Archaeology and Heritage Studies at the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, where he works as a senior lecturer. He explores theories, methods, and practices that aim at decolonizing research, interpretation of research data, and the writing of African pasts. For the past nearly 10 years, he has devoted his efforts to conducting research, training students in heritage studies, and has established community enterprise at various heritage sites in Tanzania, all aimed at building communities' future while serving heritage locales. Elgidius, whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Aris, for inviting me in such introduction. And I'll be sharing a screen. Not sure if I hope you can see all. So I am excited to join colleagues and members from across the world to try to discuss issues of heritage and heritage management, particularly focusing on the local communities and what we can gain from them. So for a few minutes, I'll talk about the roles of heritage institutions in fostering community engagements, and I very much focus in Tanzania to try to see what is happening and how we move forward so far. So the issue of heritage and particularly community as well is no longer local. It's something that is capturing the attention of the global community and at different levels. We could take an example of the Millennium Development Goals, where we have various goals citing cultural heritage and heritage sites as centers of education, as centers for economic growth, but also as things that can promote peace, justice, and the related issues. And one of the issues that we could discuss is the UNESCO's Unite for Heritage, where the whole idea is to make people from across the world enjoy and think of heritage as centers of economic development and peace as well. In Africa, there is Agenda 2063, which is the agenda specifically aiming at seeing certain developments by 2063, when the African Union will be reaching 100 years since its form. So this agenda has got 7 aspirations, and among the 7, aspiration number 5 wants to see Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, shared values, and ethics, in the sense that people's diversities in culture, heritage, and language should be the strength of making these people come together, celebrate their heritage, and enjoy what nature and culture has given them. So because of recognizing such kind of importance of heritage to the community and to the society in general, Tanzania is really committed to seeing heritage becoming the source of pride among the people. And this is articulated in Article 9 of the Constitution, that activities of the government should be conducted in such a way to ensure that the national wealth and heritage are preserved and the pride for the common good. And such interest is very much ongoing in other national documents that we can talk. For instance, in the tourism sector, the desire is to utilize heritage and make sure that it becomes a source of or engine of economic development. They want to make sure that they are promoting heritage for tourism so that it can raise the number of tourists from 1.5 million by 2022, raise the income from 2.4 billion to $6.1, and create jobs by 12% using those kind of heritage. To make sure that we achieve that, there is very well articulated policies like the cultural heritage policy, which wants to use heritage uh, to improve the livelihoods of people through contributing to the economy and such kind of thing. So all these initiatives and strategies, they are aiming at making sure that we have at least heritage that we protect and use it for economic gain, and to ensure that there is inclusion of cultural heritage and culture within the development vision 2025, when Tanzania was expecting to become a middle income country. Now, how do we achieve all these if we are not engaging the community? And what exactly should we do if you want to get at a point where the community is able to engage and see the value of that particular heritage? And it is this community that can tell us what exactly do we have in terms of heritage, how many, where they are located, in what condition, and how should this be responsible to protect all this, so that we can inform the general public, including the global community, of the heritage potentials, protect the heritage for posterity, but also make sure that we have a soft copy of the heritage that we can show to the future generation in case the hard copies cannot be available, or they are destroyed because that may arise. So because of that, there are various heritage institutions that they are injecting their energy, their time, and their resources to make sure that heritage is protected. For instance, we have the Department of Antiquities within the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. We have the National Museum of Tanzania. There is a special fund which is dedicated for funding activities on heritage. There is academic institutions that are working very hard to make sure that heritage is protected. Government and non-government organizations, but also various ministries are injecting their energy to make sure that heritage is protected, preserved, and shared for the public interest. I will give two examples here on how the institutions provide roles and ensure that heritage is protected for the general good. One is the Department of Antiquities, and this was formed in 1957. And the major goal was to make sure that the cultural heritage of Tanzania is protected and preserved for the general public. And that is effected through the laws which are still operational. For instance, we have the Antiquity of 1964, and we have an amendment act of the same acts and laws mentioning some and making sure that the heritage is used before the general public. So they are providing laws, and they are providing permits for people who are coming to Tanzania and the Tanzanians who are doing research to make sure that heritage is protected and preserved for the general public. But the department itself does research to make sure that if there are new sites that needs to be open, that needs to be identified, they are there and they are protected. They also hold some workshops and meetings to bring together stakeholders in the heritage sector so that they can work together and discuss matters of heritage and how to move forward. So I will not discuss very much that, but I will pay attention to the academic institutions. And this is where I am based, and I try to focus into this and try to explain what we, as the academic institution, as the department dealing with heritage, we are doing exactly. So we are training students at various levels in both tertiary, but also at the degree level. We also provide tailor-made courses to various groups, including tour guides who are living very close to the sites who are guiding tourists. And the idea is to make sure that at least these groups come together, guide people, go and look at the heritage, but also they earn income from it. We are conducting some workshops with various groups and stakeholders, and particularly the local community. And the idea here to do workshops is to learn from the local people, from the local community, what entails heritage and what they perceive to be heritage from their own perspective, so that their motives towards protecting heritage and our motives as academic towards the same is not jeopardized, and we do the same thing to ensure heritage. We also do provide community-based services so that any income protect their heritage while enhancing their futures as well. And this is where I think I would try to spend some few minutes try to explain what is happening apart from that. So it has been kind of conflicting idea of what professionals consider to be heritage and what the local community is considered to be heritage. In some of the sites in Tanzania, for instance, there has been limiting the local people to access the sites because they are considered to do activities that are detrimental, destroying the sites, and therefore issues like spirituality on rock arts and on monumental sites, they are being limited by the government because of considering that the local people are not aware of the values of the rock arts and such kind of things. So what we are doing at the moment is try to get their knowledge, their ideas, and the activities that they do, and try to see how we can bring these into the table, have formal discussions, discuss together what to do to make sure that this heritage, the intangible heritage, they are part and parcel of the tangible heritage which the government has been protecting for years. But to do that, we are trying to work together with the community, form different groups and associations so that people can come together. One example is the formation of the Boat Builders Association that is in one of the coastal sites, and these boat builders are coming together. They are teaching one another, they are teaching the young on how to build boats, the technology which is really disappearing, but they're also educating the general public and particularly the boat builders on the kind of materials they should use. So instead of cutting like mangrove trees to build boats, they are educating one another. They should follow the rules and they should use the materials that are also available, but they are not that much destructive to the environment whenever they are building their boats. Different schools in Tanzania try to convince them, like teach them what heritage is. It's very unfortunate that the school curriculum does not have as many aspects as we would wish that would teach students the heritage that we have, the reasons why we should protect them and such kind of issues. So what we are doing is to go to school, talk to students, talk to teachers, discuss some issues, at least to get some hours, let these pupils visit sites, do some discussions around the sites. And the whole idea is to try to find the best way of engaging people, not only the age-advanced ones, but also the young ones from the schools and such kind of local community. We are training some people, and this is a group of women in Kaole, where they are coming together to try to discuss the kind of business they could do around the sites so that they can sell these products, get some income to enhance their life, but at the same time participate in preserving the sites. So we are working with some institutions and organizations to try to find the best way of managing sites, but also empowering community. So sustainable preservation initiatives of the USA is collaboratively working with us, try to make sure that we are protecting the sites and we are empowering the community to making the local people engaged by giving them opportunities to thrive, turning their cultural materials and their cultural food into something commercial. And here I am showing some example where the local community are selling the seashells, but also making some local baskets which they sell to the tourists and therefore earn some income for their day-to-day activities. But we are also trying to design some products with the local people so that they can get income. And here we are making the washing soap, which is named after the ruins. It's called Magofu. Magofu is the ruins. So people are using like the label of the heritage that they have, turn it into business, and they are getting the value of the sites instead of seeing the visitors coming to see the sites and paying some little money which goes directly to the government without any income getting back to the people. So what we are doing here is try to design some business opportunities, use the label of the sites, which is much more popular, and therefore they can earn income and do it. But we have gone further to establish, work with local people, establish site museums, and in that site museums, we are exhibiting objects and artifacts that are really local, and it is the local people who are deciding these are the materials that we want. We don't want things that are of origin.
I'm sorry, can you share your screen again, because we can't see what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. Just a minute. Can you see it now? Okay, so this is what I was talking. These are some of the marine shells that these people have been collecting for years as their normal cultural food. So we are trying to give them some workshops and training them on how these foods will be turned into economic opportunities, which they sell to the people and make sure that they are earning some income. And this is the one I was talking about, where we have these ruins, which is called Magofu in the Swasti, visiting those sites, and the income goes to the government. There is very few income getting to the people, but working with the local community, they are trying to design some products which they could give the label of the sites and sell them. And here is one example of the cream soaps, which is called Magofu and Magofu ruins. They're using that kind of emblems to try to sell and get some income. There is another issue which is extremely important, co-creating the site museum, where the products of rock origin they are being exhibited, and the local people are the ones who are designing and thinking what kind of things should we put in the museum instead of professionals coming out to design the museums. They can visit the museum, they can bring their kids, they can use these as training centers instead of the museums that are of national oriented. There are also some cultural sports that are being done.
Elgidius, you're breaking off again. You can hear me. Maybe you need to turn your camera off.
Remaining engaged, right? What is being valued as heritage is not ending in the brain, but is also being celebrated and enjoyed so far. And finally, what I want to bring you
Elgidius, can you please turn off your camera? Just share your screen.
Musical heritage. I no? Hello?
Hello, Elgidius, if you keep your camera off, but just share your screen, I think the connection will be less taxed that way.
Okay, to finish up, I was on the final slide to end up, but I was talking about musicalizing heritage, where we have lots of youth who cannot read and they cannot visit the museums, but they can still uh, listen to the music, watch the video on TV, and therefore recording the sites and using this popular local music in Tanzania. It has been very useful to bring people together, watch the heritage on the television, and try to give some comments as well. That's what I wanted to share this morning. And sorry for the internet problems.
Elgidius, thank you very much for a very rich presentation, which has touched on many points that I think all heritage professionals, especially Greek ones, will probably relate to. And I would like to highlight, in a way, the importance of teaching institutions like universities, for example, or schools, in creating situations of common knowledge making. And I very much like your last point on musicalizing heritage, musicalizing knowledge. Because we're always trying to find alternative ways of discussing heritage, of discussing our projects, of presenting them to the people, of getting feedback. And sometimes, because most of us, at least, are academics, we think that, all people are on the same, educational level, and they can understand our specialist argot, our specialist language, but it is always much more interesting to create situations where people can share their level of expertise with us in the way they know better. And this musicalization idea was, I think, tremendous. Thank you very much.